Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm joined by Adam Mackay, who is very well known estate agent from Hertfordshire in Sawbridgeworth, with his estate agency office of Mackay Property. Adam, thank you for joining me today. You are quite well known on the estate agency circuit, and I want to find out a bit more about your journey as an estate agent, so the boys and girls out there in estate agency land can learn from your wins, but also your mistakes. Is that okay?
Of course, and thank you for inviting me here, Chris.
The pleasure is all mine. Adam, how old are you at the moment?
41.
41, you're looking quite well.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, when did you first see estate agency? When did you first become an estate agent? When did you see it as a career?
It all started in 1993.
1993.
I was 13 years old.
Okay.
My father was an independent mortgage broker. Back in those days, he had a lot of brokers in different agent offices. He was very good friends with a particular agent where most of his leads came from. And I was a bit sick and tired of my paper round getting cold in the winter months.
I tell you what, we've all been there, haven't we?
And I said to my dad, "Can I get a job with one of your friends?" And so he lined up a job in and I used to get paid £7 for a full day's work on a Saturday. And I'd have to go and do the bacon roll running on a Saturday morning, and I'd get a free bacon roll, and I thought I was rolling in it, and that's where it all started.
So it was 13-year-old, basically what, 93, so you were sticking on photographs?
Sticking on photographs. I'd have to go to the photography shop. I'll never forget my first day, actually, because he sent me down to the hardware store to get a bag of air for the air conditioner. That was a good one. That's how it all started. But down to the photography shop, pick up all the photos, and then I'd have 1,000, 2,000 sets of details to stick in envelopes, stamps on envelope, and post them.
Good old days of sticking photographs. And the Valley, we used to put like 6 on. You had to get the right photograph to match up the right one. And the gaps, them were the days, eh?
A lot's changed.
So, apart from having a bacon bat, which, to be honest with you, there isn't that much feelings in life better than a bacon bat. Obviously, Michael wouldn't know because he's a vegan who's just been on recently. Your colleague, and sticking on photographs. What did you love about those formative years as a 13, 14-year-old?
Well, I was very lucky to be working for a chap who was very passionate. He was dynamic. He wasn't a typical estate agent. He was hard working, and he was always looking at the next avenue. He was big into the land and new homes, and built a company, plot finding agency, which was nationwide. So I was very lucky to be mentored at a young age by a chap, who partly, he liked me because, I was the son of one of his good friends. So I sort of fell in love with it because of him, and I still keep in touch with him. And
is he retired now or still working?
He's a developer nowadays, and he sent me a lovely email last Christmas because he was still on our email database and saying that he's proud of me, which was lovely to hear. But I saw. You'll remember in the 90s, you was an agent back then, Chris, I believe. There was highs and lows. So I saw the good times, the bad times. I saw the Christmas where he was struggling, and I saw the times where he was buying nice cars and going on nice holidays. So I saw the tough side of the agency and the good times.
So did you remain as a Saturday boy through your teenage years then?
Yeah, so I had a Saturday job from that age right until I was 20. And
so did you go to college? So did you stay at sixth form college? Did you do your A-levels?
So throughout my school years, I was very passionate about. I was very artistic. I did drama, so I was in shows and amateur athletics, and I loved to draw. So I did graphic design at college. And there's a sort of a light bulb moment one Saturday when I was looking at all the agents in the office who I got well with, and they were great agents, great negotiators, but none of them knew about marketing. None of them understood that was a bad photograph and the bin should have been moved, and I was seeing things which other people didn't.
What age was that?
Well, I was about 17 at that stage, 17, 18.
Okay, so you were doing your graphics and your amateur dramatics.
And I had a pipe dream of becoming a professional golfer at that stage as well. So.
You were into your golf at this point?
Yeah.
What were you playing off when you were in your teens?
I started when I was 16, and I got down to one very briefly, but played off two and played for the county. And I realised quite quickly I wasn't going to be a superstar, but I did for a moment, for a year or two, think that maybe I could have been.
Okay, so you thought to yourself, you'd hope to be a golfer, and you were doing a bit in the estate agents.
Yes, I did. I worked for some holidays, so you could argue maybe I was a bit entrepreneurial. So I'd get paid to do the whole of town, Bishop Stortford, leaflet drop in the whole of summer holidays. I worked out quite quickly I was going to spend every day doing that. So I got some friends on bikes, and we were going around, and we'd do it in 2 weeks. And then I started decorating because I could paint, and some of my friends could paint, and artistic. The estate agent and letting agent side of the business, they'd have a quote come in, and I'd say, "Oh, I could do better than that," and we'd go and, 2-bedroom, 2 up, 2 down, we'd go and paint it, and did that in the summer holidays. So I was around property, and I'll never forget my first viewing. I was probably only 14, way off driving. And it's Saturday morning, and it's like you've got a logistical nightmare. You're trying to get viewings, someone phones up to move an appointment, and you still want to show them a house. And the boss said to me, he said, "I'm going to drop you home now, pick your bike up, and you're going to have to do viewings on your bike today." So that was my first experience showing houses.
What age was that?
14, yeah, 14, yeah. Yeah, so wouldn't get away with it these days, would you? But
No. So when did the penny drop that you realised that estate agency was for you? What year was that?
So I trained to be a graphic designer. At that time, I was going to have a year out to see if I could do anything in the golf world and play on the amateur circuit. So I had jobs, lots of different jobs. Worked in a jam factory, worked in the evening at the airport, just to help me pay for that year. And during that year, I was thinking, if it doesn't work out, what am I going to do? Am I going to go into graphic design? And I'd been offered 3 or 4 jobs when I left college. And during that time, I kept in touch, and I was doing some work for them, estate agents, and they were going to open up a new office. And then one day, the boss phoned me up and said, "Look, I'm opening a new office. I'd like you to help open it up. What do you think?"
Which town was that?
Great Dunmow. So it's just outside Hertfordshire in Essex. Yeah.
You driving at this point?
Yep. So I was driving. Yeah.
Okay. So what was your first full-time job then at Great Dunmow? Senior neg or?
Yeah. So there was me and the boss basically. Yeah. So I was a junior neg. I'd had experience in the property.
Okay. So that was around the year 2000.
That's correct. Yeah.
Market was just about to take off.
Yeah. So
Happy days.
Yeah. So I had some very valuable experience there because it's a new brand in a new town. So I felt like I'd seen, an agency. Although they were, as their second office, it was, they were known, but it's not easy opening an office in a new town, is it? So you've got to put a lot of groundwork in. There's a lot of leaflet drops, but looking back, the amount of stock being sold compared to nowadays, there's more chances out there. So, but again, there's ups and downs. So sometimes you have good times, and other times it wasn't so easy.
Did you think at that time that was going to be your full-time job? You were around the age of 2021.
I think, on other interviews I've heard you interview people, and I think the turning point was when I started valuing. I think that.
What was your? Can you remember your first valuation?
Yeah, it was a mobile home actually, which we didn't do a lot of, and they just thought we don't want.
How old were you?
I was probably 22.
So this was around 2002.
Yeah, and
did you? Why did you get asked on that particular one?
No one else wanted to do it. There wasn't. The other valuers didn't want it, so they said you can do that one.
So basically, you're still in Great Dunmow. They've built
outside, it was in the village, yeah.
But they're built up. So now it was the boss, a valuer, and you as the neg.
Yeah.
Okay, but the valuer didn't want to do it.
No.
Because it was a park home.
Yeah, and they told me the figure, what they thought it was worth, and they laughed at me.
Why did they laugh at you?
Because they thought it was about 30,000, which was almost 50% wrong. And back in those days.
Sorry, hold on. They told you the figure, what it should be.
Yeah.
But why did you make the decision it was a different figure when you got there?
No, I told them the figure, which as a company, we sat there in the morning, we thought it should be the last one that sold was this, and the owners thought it was worth a lot more, and they laughed at me and laughed me out of their home.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't your colleagues that laughed at you?
No, it was the vendor. Yeah, so my first experience, it was a vendor.
So what did you? So you said a lower price because that's what everyone else was selling for, and the vendor laughed at you.
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
Not very good. my colleagues were very good about it. They were like, "Don't worry about it. You always remember that one." And I'm talking about it.
We always remember our first valuation.
So and it has stuck with me. And it didn't really hurt, but it was one of those. I didn't do a lot of valuations that year, but the year after, something clicked, and I was having people. I was booking in valuations from doing viewings, and that's where I really found my.
How were the other valuers, considering that this young whippersnapper was coming in and taking their bread and butter away from them?
To be honest, at that time, I was so focused on my own. I've treated my job and my career. I've always wanted to do my best and do it. Whatever I was doing, I wanted to do the best. If I was creating a set of details, I wanted to be better than anyone else's. Or
Are you a perfectionist?
too much so sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Viewings, I was like, I want to be the best person at viewing, and I've always been.
A perfectionist or a person who aims for excellence? Do you know the difference?
You've taught me sometimes like done bits perfect, and I've tried to teach that to me over the last 5 or 6 years. But there's been times, we're on video now.
You didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
What do you know the difference between excellence and perfection?
No, but I think I'm a perfectionist. Yeah.
Okay. Do you beat yourself up?
Yes.
Are you getting better at it, or are you getting worse at it?
I am getting a little bit better at it.
How have you got better at it?
Through training and reading, and I did go through some counselling as well.
So you were starting to value properties in 03, 04.
Yeah.
Market was on fire. Were you loving it?
Yeah, market was on fire. We're doing 20, 25 sales a month.
That was when 25 grand was a lot of money, but it is now, but it's still a lot of money then.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
You earning well?
The early stages, I probably wasn't getting paid as much as I probably should have been, if I'm to be honest. Yeah, it did slowly come up. Thinking how much the hours I was putting in and the deals I was putting on the table, but I loved it. I was addicted to working hard.
Or were you addicted to the listing?
Do you know what? I was addicted to helping people. I think I loved the feedback. It's a bit like when
So you want everyone to love you?
Yeah. When you're going out. When you're young.
Okay, so you're a classic estate agent valuer, disc profile eye type that you want everyone to love you.
I want my team to like me. I want the clients to like me.
You fear rejection.
Yeah.
The standard stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Cliche, aren't I? Yeah.
Classic D type. I type disc profile. But you took a step out in 2006, didn't you?
Yeah, so things were going looking back, things were going really well, and I'd started to earn decent money actually.
Okay.
And one of my friends told my parents at the time actually, why has Adam done that? Like he's only 24, 25, and I was searching for something. I didn't know what I was searching for, and I thought it was something in my career, but actually I wanted to meet someone. Looking back now.
Were you young, free and single, ready to mingle?
Yeah, I was party animal. I'd work hard.
Play hard.
I'd come in my day off, work 6 days a week, go out Saturday night,
and
play golf Sunday.
whoever was the lucky girl was the lucky girl, and you're a good-looking lad, if you don't mind me saying.
And I hadn't found.
You needed the.
There were lots of girls, but I hadn't found a girl which I didn't realise I was looking for that at the time, and I think I just wanted to be. I was ready to settle down and meet someone. And
okay, I mean, you were 26, 27 at this point. You should be settling down by now, mate.
And a good friend of mine worked in the city, and they'd moved their office over to Gibraltar, and I was going over to visit them on holiday a lot. On my holidays, I was going over there, and it was Spain, Marbella, and I thought I could do this, and so I had a little. My boss at the time said, "Go and get it out your system, have a sabbatical, and go and work over there for a year." And
that was quite good of your boss.
Yeah, so he kept my job open and said, which was lovely of him. Yeah.
So you enjoy Spain?
Yeah, it was an expensive holiday. Yeah, it was an expensive holiday, but I actually worked in the finance industry, so so I learned to deal with a different type of person, and I also learned a lot about economics. So it taught me a lot, which was
that's helped you in the.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so did you come back in 07?
Yep. So I was just a little over a year. I was living with my best friend over there. It's the first time I moved out of home. I bought properties in my early 20s, but I'd always rented them out. That's what paid for me to have that time to go out there, because I sort of wasn't employed over there. I was working for myself. And I came back, and I had one real goal, because I had a property I still owned. It was rented out, and I was like, I want to buy something to make some money, and that'll make up for the money I've spent the last year. And just when I stopped looking for love, I think, and yeah, it sort of hit me over the head. Yeah, and I found my which is now my wife and the mother of my children.
You really are batting with her, aren't you? Batting with, you know.
You've always said that. So.
I know she's cracking that. Okay, so you went back to work for your old boss,
Yep.
yeah? When did that little niggle start in your head that you think to yourself, I need to do this for myself? And I don't want to talk about the time you actually made the move. I want to talk about the feelings that you had, that niggle.
I think at that age, when you start out as a young valuer, it's definitely, definitely back then, before social media was, I think, and it's a bit more ageist. So I had to think, you mentioned I look young for 41 now. Back then, I probably didn't look 27, 28. And I always, I'd always get that in my first pitch. Oh, I'm Adam. So I'm here today. Here's my business card. I'm 28. I've got nearly 10 years experience. I'd get that in early, so Mr. and Mrs. Vendor would know. And I mentioned I play golf. At the golf club, people started coming to me, but their properties were near the other office. So I had aspirations to move towns. Basically, that move didn't happen.
What, back to, where was the other town?
Bishop Stortford, where I live now.
Yeah, okay.
And so I wanted to focus my energies around there because I knew I could get listings.
Yeah.
It didn't happen for whatever reason. That my boss wanted to keep me where I was, where the office.
You're valuing or managing the place at this point?
I was head of had a team underneath me and negs and office admin. We're mainly sales. Did a little bit of lettings, but it was mainly sales.
Okay. But what was what did?
The moment it happened when I got approached by a national agency who wanted me to head up another office in Sawbridgeworth, where I'm based now. And I had a few meetings with them, and I spoke about my dad, I look up to my dad, and and I was like, well, someone else, if they can see something in me, maybe we should think about doing it ourselves. So we started having that conversation then.
What, you and your dad?
Yeah. When
What
I say
year
me
was
and my
this?
dad, it's always been my company. I've had no input from my father at all because even though he could have done, I never wanted.
What year was this?
That would have been 2009 where it really started, I think.
2009, but the market was going at that point.
Yes, and
You still employed at this
my
point?
dad set his business up in a really tough recession, and that's what he was sort of having the conversations. It's a good time to start. Everyone else is saying it's a bad time, and
So what year did you start?
2010.
Can you remember handing your notice in?
Yes.
How did that go?
I was petrified actually, because he'd been really good to me. He'd kept my job open and took me back.
Do you think he was expecting it?
I think so. Yeah, I think deep down he probably knew that with the connection. My dad's a financial broker, and
Do you think in hindsight he could have done anything better or offered you something like a partnership or something?
I think with me, because of the design background I had, and I was.
But you didn't even want your father involved in your business.
I was quite, even when I was a young lad, I didn't want anyone to help with the homework. I was quite, I want to do it my way, and I had my vision, and so I think he knew. And they did, the original boss who I worked with back in the 90s, had since left and gone on to developing. He come straight away that evening, came and saw me and said, look, let's try to open up another office and you can do your own thing. And I just basically said to him, I said, I'd love to work with you guys and never know, one day we might. But I just need to get this out of my system and do my own thing. And
Are you pig-headed in some ways?
No, something happened to me in my early 20s where my best friend got paralysed, which I haven't spoke about. Don't speak about a lot, but that happened in 2000, and I used to think, John's never going to have this, opportunity in life to own his own business or do this, so I've got to do it. So I was kind of doing it for him as well, and it gave me that. That happened in my early 20s. It actually gave me that confidence of like, what's the worst can happen? If I lose my house, I lose my house. We live in the UK, you'll get a council house. So I sort of trained my brain not to have any fear. Like this is not going to fail, and if it does, it doesn't matter.
That's quite a brave thing to do, isn't it?
Especially in a recession. I remember being at a petrol station and a leading estate agent in the area was behind me. I was paying for my petrol, and he'd heard I'd had my notices and I was going out on my own. And he tapped me on the shoulder and whispered in my ear, "You're brave." But moments like that gave me the fire, I think. And another agent, local agent, said something to my dad, and all that gave like fire to my belly. I was like, I'm going to make this work no matter what.
Well, you did make it work because you're still here, but what were those first few years like in 10, 11, 12? I mean, the market was beginning to kick off again quite nicely.
Completely different to the last 12 months. Sometimes the phone would never ring. You had to make things happen, and it was, put in the pieces of the puzzle, use the data, the applicants you had registering with you, you had to go and find them something,
What, good old-fashioned estate agency, building chains?
Yeah,
God
I did.
forbid.
Yeah, there was one really good move I made at the beginning. The agency I was working for, they were really good with my commission because I'd built up quite a big pipeline. They were like, we'll honour the commission ongoing. So I sat down with the bosses and said that I'll waive all that. You can keep all the money, but how about you just give me some listings to give my website when I first go live? Looking back, that was a really good thing to do because I'd bump into someone in Tesco's and in the street, and they go, "Oh, you've taken on 3 or 4 this week." I hadn't taken a thing on. So although I wasn't going to get paid on any of those, that was a good thing to do in the first few months because I had.
What do you mean you weren't going to get paid on them?
I'd done it well, not a lot. It wasn't a full fee. So if I'd found someone that was going to give me 10% of the fee, and I'd waive my commission. But having 50 properties on my website in the first 6 months, basically both offices agreed to give me 25 listings to, it's extra exposure for their clients. We weren't directly competitors. I didn't open up in a town. I'd never wanted to be that person who opened up in a town in the same company where I've been working. So I was very brave. I opened up in 2010 in a town I've never worked before.
Which was Sawbridgeworth.
Sawbridgeworth. My dad was known in the area for mortgage broker, which obviously meant that the agents which in that town had been recommending him. Okay. My dad was cutting off them.
Do you think you could have done it without having those listings?
Probably,
in hindsight.
Probably, yeah. But I think
it's almost like
sort of like a comfort blanket.
Yeah, or like a life belt or something.
But but looking back, I'd go and play golf. I was young, free and single. Not young, free and single. But
no, you weren't young, free and single.
I didn't have children, so I was playing golf in the evenings while my wife was working and stuff like that. And
you married at this point?
2012 got married. So I had set the company up in 2010, married 2012, and had our first baby in 2012. Okay. It wasn't a shotgun wedding. We had a long engagement. So.
Okay, good stuff. That's what I like to see. Okay, so how was 13, 14, 15, 16 years?
So 2012, when I was getting married, and more importantly, when I found out I was going to be a dad for the first time, something really lit inside me. I was like, I'm now going to have, I'm not going to have a mortgage and a wife to pay for now, which my wife was earning. I've got to, my wife's going to stop earning money, and I'm going to have to. And we had a really good quarter. We just started to get going. Looking back, we should have probably moved office in 2012, 2011. We was in a lovely office in the centre of town, but it wasn't on the high street or in a prominent location. So I think, if we'd have moved then, things would have rocketed a bit sooner. But 13, 14, we growth every year. That's when I first, I think 2014, I met you through a business coach. And so I entered the world of learning, which, for the first 4 years of the company, it was just work hard, be an estate agent. In 2014, when something, came across my table, I thought, actually, no, let's try to become a better business person.
And you thought this was just going to carry on for the rest of your life, was it? Just happy sailing? Was it a happy ship?
I had quite low goals, actually, when I first set up. I thought, I just want to earn X amount. I just want to get to this sort of size. I don't want to take on the world and have 100 offices. I just want to have a nice life. And, I'd seen other companies have too many offices and struggle and have difficulties and go the wrong way. But then I hit that goal in 2014, and I didn't feel that great about it. And then I was like, well, what next?
What was next?
Well, it was time to set a new goal and set a new vision for the company. We started using social media at that stage, when other agents were doing it, and we started re-evaluating it. And I was a bit, to this until I met you. I'm not here to blow your trumpet, but I was a bit lost, really. I was like, I didn't have the full vision of the company or where we're going. But when we had those conversations, those days planning next 90 days, and I started seeing a vision of the company. Yeah.
What was the vision of the company at that point?
We wanted to be before that. We were just another estate agent. I believed that people bought into me and brought into my passion, but I was not offering anything different. If anything, I was offering something less because I didn't have a high street office. Then it was like, we're going to be the best marketeers, you know, we're going to have the best systems, and use the best marketing and showcase the houses, use professional photography. And then, in 2000, a little later, the video started coming.
Let's roll the clock to 2018, 2019. I can remember the conversations you had that, if you don't mind me saying, you were almost underselling yourself. Your fees were...
Yes, yeah. And I think that came to addicted. I was addicted to the hard work. I'd always been a grafter all through my life, and believed in if you put the hours in, you'd end up being all okay when you're 70 years old. But I was underselling myself a lot. I look back and doing 70 viewings on a house where you're going to earn £1,000 just didn't make financial sense, really.
Is that because you said earlier on that you want everyone to love you?
Yeah.
You didn't want to let people down? And...
Yeah, of course they're going to like you if you're doing something for nothing, aren't they? But when you look back, think of it like that.
So when did you realise that you had to almost charge what you were worth?
It's when I started working as a business coach, talking to the likes of yourself.
I think you went with, you spoke with Perry,
Perry Power. And it really ignited when, John Paul and Perry Power came into my life, and a lot of other independent agents as well. Actually, there's likes of Andy Overman, Michelle Gallagher, met at events. I can name, there's Ian Story. There's so many who are like, you've got to, your videos are far too good for the 0.75%, and we have managed to. I still think we've got a way to go.
Can you remember the first time that you put your fees up, minimum fee up?
Yes, and it was nervous. I was like, now we've made a decision, or I made a decision, that the company wasn't going to charge less than 1% ever. And everyone else was doing 0.75, 0.5, and
Can you remember the first time that you lost a property when you said 1%?
Yes, but at that time, when I looked, the first thing I did when I got back to the office, I looked at the pipeline and looked at the other ones. I thought, there's no point doing this one for half price. So I turned it. I can remember it was a bungalow, and a corporate agent had done 0.5%, and I'd quoted 1%, and she said, if you match them, you can have the listing. And I turned it down.
That must have been hard for you.
It was hard because I hadn't been used to saying no at all. I'd been saying yes, yes, yes for years, and not being a great negotiator and getting a client the best price, but not being a great negotiator on my fee, which just doesn't make sense, does it? But
have you got better at that?
Yeah, loads. Yeah, lots of it. Yeah. So we've.
Does it still hurt when you say no?
Yeah, yeah. There's part of you think, I could still have that $2,000 or that. Yeah, but I think the team. Some of my new members of the team, Daisy in particular, she tells me off if I ever start talking about, maybe we should do it. It's still $4,000 or still. She's like, no. And that's what I want. We want to work together as a team, and as a team, stick to the fee.
Interesting. You say the team. We've had Michael on the sofa. I'm about to have Daisy on the sofa. You have some exceptional staff.
I'm very lucky. Yeah.
I mean, I've even said that I consider Michael in the top 5 of all employed estate agents I know. Yet also, you've had your challenges as well with staff.
Yeah, I'd say I wasn't prepared for being. I knew I was a good agent when I set up in 2010. Okay. I knew I cared about the customer. I knew I was always going to want to learn and grow as an agent and get better. I wasn't prepared for the highs and lows of being an employee and dealing with awkward situations. I believe I am a nice person, but
you're too nice.
Yeah, but I think I've been way too nice, and I probably avoid the difficult conversations, which is strange because actually throughout my career I've never shied away from the difficult conversations with the client. I'm quite happy to.
Okay. So what's holding you back from the difficult conversations with your staff?
I think
colleagues. Sorry, you've got to use the word colleagues nowadays.
Yeah. I think it's.
Because I know you had at least 2.
Yeah, I've had some tricky situations. I think it happens in to every company, doesn't it? And I think it's not. I think deep down, because I like even the staff I've had which are problematic or difficult or underperforming. I've always liked them, and so I think it's.
Do you want them still to be? Can you be a friend and a boss at the same time?
I don't. You can be friendly, but you're not meant to be friends, are you? That's what they say. But I have got a culture in my company where I want us to. We on our team teamed out recently. I want us to have a good tight knit. But I think something I'm always trying to improve on is to be more structured and be able to tell someone they're underperforming or need to change or do something differently.
But I mean, surely friends, if there's something needs to be said, they say it to
Exactly,
each other, don't they?
And I think maybe the ones which I haven't been as close with those people because I've got a great team at the moment.
You've got an exceptional team.
And I look at the ones which are
You're bloody lucky to have them.
really performing. I probably have had more awkward conversations with them over the years than I have the ones which underperform, which is strange because I feel like I can talk to them.
What are you going to do differently moving forward in case this situation happens again?
Well, I'm working with John Paul, and we're currently building on a structure, more stringent HR structure, more routine.
What are you doing?
I'm working on the one-to-ones. I'm going to basically have a system in place, and if someone's not doing the things they should,
It's about
have a plan.
It's accountability.
Do you know what I
isn't
think?
it?
Do you know what I think it is, Chris? I don't think I give myself enough time out to plan what I'm going to say.
It's just classic on the business, in the business.
Yeah. So once I've got a plan.
They've got this new word called delegation, mate.
I know. But you've helped me with scripts to say and stuff. And when I have planned stuff, you can direct things in the right direction, and you can get the result. And I really care about my team. And some of the ones which haven't worked out, I cared about them.
And you still care about them, don't you? You can't please all the people all the time,
and that's the trouble. Yeah, and I think lockdown, I learned lockdown one, when it went into lockdown, that taught me a lot to really analyse the business as a whole, and I've got to change. And
apart from obviously the awful things that have happened because of COVID, has it made you a better person, better boss?
I think so. Yeah.
Has it? I'm saying off camera. Has it made him a better boss? Yeah. We're just talking off the camera at the moment.
I think we've got the best culture we've ever had in the company.
Culture's everything, because culture eats anything for breakfast.
Yeah, and I think, I had some troubles in 2018, 2020, partly in the business, partly out of the business, and the company went backwards a little bit in 2019. I went on a course with Perry Power and Royston Guest back into 2019, took Michael, who's now the lead valuer in the company, and that changed, and that gave us real power to come out of 2020 after lockdown with higher fees, better service, and I'm really lucky that I've employed some great staff since then, and we're hopefully going to build onto that into 2022.
Any final thoughts to any estate agents out there who are finding it difficult running their own business?
I think don't be afraid to seek help. There's the likes of yourself who offer free calls while you're on the treadmill at 7 to 8 every morning. Is that right? Or Thursday mornings? I can't remember now.
Every weekday morning.
And you might be the best estate agent, but if you've got troubles in the business, everything can be fixed. There's some great books out there as well. John Paul's got a book. There's some great books out there, and there's, I think, lockdown, especially in estate agency for me, was fantastic to see as like Stephen Brout, like everyone coming together. And sharing ideas, and so I felt like the industry as a whole came together, and there's a lot of sharing. Like, so if anyone has got any issues, just drop me a line, and I'm happy to book a call.
Adam, thank you for your time today. I hope you out there, and boys and girls in the estate agency land, have found it interesting. I wish you well in the future. I've got a good feeling about where you're taking the business, and I think you've had opportunities of expanding, but I think the magic thing is that you're focused on Sawbridgeworth and Bishop Stortford, which is very, very clever. Make yourself the king daddy-o of that. Get 20-30% market share, so everything comes to you. You can take the pick and choose of what you want, and you'll win.
That's the plan.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for your help. Cheers, Chris.